We're live.
We're live.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Listen.
Good to see you, Pastor Johnson.
It's good to see you. Listen, stay 6 feet.
6 feet. 6 feet. We are.
Listen, everybody. Welcome to St. Luke Christian Church. I have Karen with us here. We want to talk about the census because of the percentage of people that are not signing up. And I don't know what the theory is, Karen. I don't know.
Right.
Is that people don't know how important it is?
Mm-hmm.
What does the census do?
Well, the census only happens every 10 years.
Right.
So that's the first reason it's important, because it only happens every 10 years.
Right.
Now, you get 1, 2, 3 chances a year to vote. The primary, the re-election. Yeah. 1 chance every 10 years. So what it does is it tells the federal government what they're going to see in terms of population and population growth over the next 10 years. So it's going to inform so many forms of federal spending. And I just am sure that every person is counted in one of these categories. You ready?
Yeah. Go ahead.
If you are needing public assistance, food stamps.
Right, okay.
If you need Medicare or Medicaid.
It affects you too.
The census affects you.
Okay.
If you are a student, and I mean K-12 or college, the census affects you. Public education funding.
Okay.
How many kids they think are going to be going to school in certain neighborhoods in the next 10 years. Public education affects everybody. All right. Now, another really important thing is hospitals. Don't you think most people want their hospitals?
The census affects hospitals. How?
Yes, it does. Because most hospitals are not-for-profit organizations.
Okay.
And believe it or not, even though our bills are very high when we go to the hospital.
Yes, very high.
They are extremely high, and that's a function of the insurance industry and how much they want to pay and how much they want you to pay, how much the doctors are charging. But none of that includes the full cost. So the federal government kicks in terms of contributions to hospitals.
Okay, so because we are counted, it attributes to amount of money that comes into an area to fund all of these things.
All of these things. And the number I've heard is something like $1,600 per person in the state of Alabama.
Per year?
Per year.
1,600.
And that gets escalated. Let me say this is a 10-year thing. That was the number in 2017.
Right.
$1,600 per head count in the state of Alabama. And the head count was determined in 2010 in the old census, then they keep projecting.
So if I don't do the census this year, it'll be 10 years before my money starts kicking. I'm living in the community, but the dollars are not coming in for me because I didn't do the census.
Well, they're not coming in for you, but they're not coming in for anybody else, because what happens is they're going to prorate it a cost.
Right, okay.
So if the state of Alabama appears, because of the numbers, to have 70% fewer people than we actually have, then that's less money that gets spread across for everybody.
Gotcha.
So don't think that just because you responded, you're going to get your money, and the people who didn't respond, they won't get their money. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I understand. But if they're gonna count me as a $1,600 go in the purse to go to Alabama to disperse, I'm not counted, my $1,600 is not counted.
That's absolutely, it does not count.
Yeah, not me personally,
right? Yeah,
but what happens in the community.
That's
generally.
right. That's right.
What are some of the reasons do you think why people have this hesitance?
Well, now, you mentioned you've talked to people as well. Here's some of the people that I've talked to, and you may know others. I'm trying to get in touch with the millennials. I'm trying to get in touch with the college students and the recent graduates. Many of them are renters. So it's actually a statistical fact that more homeowners fill out the census than renters. Now, who's renting? Usually young people who haven't bought their house yet. And so they may be thinking, well, maybe apartments don't count in the census, but that's not true. Every head. See, what happens is in the state of Alabama and all other states, it's known how many households there are. But they know how many apartments. Okay, for one thing, the utilities, trash, all of that. We know how many locations there are, let's just say in the city of Huntsville. Now, in the city of Huntsville right now, it sounds pretty good compared to the state, because Huntsville's reporting at about 70-71%, Madison County 71-72%. Now, That doesn't really sound good to me because as an A student, I like to make 90 and above. Okay, so 70 doesn't sound good to me, but everything's relative. And on the curve, since the state of Alabama is in the 60% range, some people in Huntsville feel like, well, we did our job and we did more than our job. But you got to drill down.
Right.
You and I are sitting right now in Census Tract 13.01.
Right.
Do you know which one that is? I'll tell you. You know we're sitting on Sparkman Drive, don't you?
Exactly.
You know this. All right. Sparkman Drive between University Drive, which is pretty much UAH campus, down to Jordan Lane, which is pretty much Oakwood campus. Mm-hmm. The lowest reporting census tract in the city. Okay. Now, who lives here? A lot of students that are at Oakwood, UAH. There are a lot of apartments. There are a lot of young people just who haven't bought homes yet. And then there are even families, though. Now, let's talk about where we really are. We're at University in Bonnell.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of families up there.
Right.
There is housing that's affordable housing, and everybody needs to have a place to stay. Affordable housing that is rented to families who may not get a living wage. Right. And so they may be renters all their lives, but they still need to be counted in the census, and that's the point.
Okay. So the emphasis on the census then has to do with federal dollars flowing into that state and being divvied out to the community.
Cities.
Is there a way to track how that money is used?
You know, I have asked that question, and it is really hard. I don't think I've seen any data that's down at the city level. I've been able to see some that goes at the county level because a lot of times the county gets road money and money for road projects, and so you can kind of track that. But the big thing that makes it so hard to give a straight answer on this is almost every project has more than one funding source.
Right.
So if I say, well, how did we build 565, or how did we build the Martin Luther King extension of Ride Out Road? Well, it was some federal money, but it was some state money, but it might have been some city money too, because it is in the city of Huntsville.
Okay.
So it's very difficult to answer that question. But this number I know, $675 billion across the whole country is divvied up because of the census. Now, that money, that's a lot. I really can't even, but I can't even fathom how many things $675 billion pays for.
Yeah.
It's so much money. Now, so the money's allocated, and if Alabama doesn't get it, then what? That's the good question.
Okay, so let me ask this question because I've had this thrown in there a number of times. I have a felony. I have I'm somewhat don't want to be found. So there are people who are afraid to go to the census because they don't want to be found.
You know, I understand being afraid of the man in the popo. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of them too. I really don't want them to pull me over because I don't feel they're going to treat me fairly.
Right.
Okay, but we're not going to get on community policing and fair sentencing. We're not going to get into that because we're here to talk about the census. The census, because it operates every 10 years and because of the safeguards on information, that money is not turned over to the police, to law enforcement, to the parole department, not even to immigration, because there are people.
The information is...
It is locked within the census.
Okay.
Just those numbers are turned over.
Right.
So, for example, how many people live at 1234 Johnson Street?
Right.
Not which people, with a record.
No name, no
not are they undocumented immigrant.
Right. Just, okay.
Now, I wouldn't say no name because, look, haven't you heard of people that through the census records find their relatives?
Yeah.
You know, okay, so this stuff, in that sense, it can be determined, and it's a great thing. So it's not just about money. We've heard about people who set up their whole family reunions off of the people that they find out about that are in the census records at the courthouse, the birth and the death certificates. I mean, so it actually can benefit us individually as well in historical terms.
Now, I seem to remember the last census, and it seemed like they bugged me all year until I got the census numbers. It seemed like it started in January and went to Santa Claus and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it closing in September this year? Why it seems to be shorter?
Okay, who is our president of the United States right now?
We don't have one?
Mm.
Oh, yeah, I got you. Okay.
Okay. Now, so there was an executive order to close the census out early this year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, and then the census was already crippled because of COVID. So usually, as you say, you start hearing about it. It's really ramping up in the spring because the official census day is April 1.
Right.
So now if you moved, let's say you lived in one place in April 1 and then you forgot to do your census until September 1. You should still put in there, where were you on April 1? Because that's like a snapshot of the whole country. So no matter who moved since then. So really, usually March, April, May, and June are the biggest census outreach. But what happened this year in March, April, May, and June?
COVID shut everybody.
Shut down.
Yeah.
Stay-at-home orders. Yes.
So we've been handicapped based upon the virus.
Yes.
We've been handicapped based on the shortage of length of time.
Uh-huh.
And I think when you have this movement, it's important to understand that itself says to us that the census must be important if people are shortening it for a purpose. And so
yes.
I appreciate you coming over, and I
Yeah.
appreciate being with you for
Yes.
these few moments
Yes.
about the census.
Yes.
And
Thank
we're doing a YouTube, and we're on
Right.
St. Luke Live. And I want you to pass this on to everyone you know around the country.
Right.
Let's get the census done.
Get the census done.
Prior to the end of September.
Well, there's only 7 days
7 days left.
Please don't let people
Call
think
everyone.
that you can wait.
Call everyone. Do your census. It's about 3 minutes if you do it online, if
Yes.
that long.
Let's tell them how. My2020census.gov.
Go.
My2020census.gov. If you don't have internet or if you have difficulty navigating the site, you can still call this number.
Right.
844-330-2020. Again, 844-330-2020. And you can stand up and be counted.
Karen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Pastor. Glad to see you too.
Distance. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Pastor, share it.